Think of the last time you had a fly whizzing by your face, maybe just barely missing snagging the side of your head. Or maybe you've even had a fly lodged into the side of your head, face, or maybe even close to your eye. And what about spotting fish? Has being able to see into the water to check out fish been an important part of your success? I know I've had glasses protect my eyes over the years, and I know we were on a recent trip where spotting fish was a key to success. And today you're going to find out which are the best glasses and lens styles to use so you're able to see more fish next time you're on the water this year. This is the Wet Fly Swing Podcast, where I show you the best places to travel to for fly fishing, how to find the best tools and resources to prepare for that big trip, and what you can do to give back to the fish species you love. Hey, I'm Dave, host of the Wet Fly Swing Podcast. I've been fly fishing since I was a little kid. I grew up around a fly shop and have created one of the largest fly fishing podcasts in this country. I've also interviewed more of the greatest fly anglers than just about any show out there right now. Mike Simboski and Allie Flake are here from Smith Optics to share the history of how Smith first got started, and we're going to dig into it all today. We're going to talk about what you need to know about getting the right pair of glasses while on the water. We're going to find out which are some low-cost options that Smith has in their lineup. And we're also going to get into a few tips on matching the lens color to your surroundings and how to easily pick the right shades for this. And ChromaPop, if you haven't heard of ChromaPop, we're going to talk about why you need to know what ChromaPop's all about. Plus, you're going to find out which glasses have been the best all-time sellers over the years. We're going to talk about that today. So let's jump into it. We got a big one, Smith Optics. You can head over to smithoptics.com and check in with Allie or Mike, and you can listen to them right now. Here we go. How you guys doing?
Doing great. How are you guys?
Oh, feeling so good. Beautiful out here in Colorado.
Sweet. It's great to have you both on here today. We are going to talk about Smith Optics today. I think this is a really... I'm excited for this conversation because Smith is such a big brand out there. You know, I know you do a lot of things in the outdoor space, and I'm sure fly fishing is a small chunk of it. But, you know, we see a lot of in fly shops. I was just in a fly shop yesterday in Virginia, and they had a nice Smith display at the shout out to Mossy
Nice.
Creek Fly Fishing. And so I feel like Smith is huge out there. There's a few big brands, but you're one of the big ones. So I'm excited to hear about that. Maybe help some people on choosing glasses. But before we get there, let's jump into first a little on your background, what your connection is to like fly fishing and Smith, and maybe Allie, we'll start with you. How did you come in to be working for Smith right now?
It's a good. I can make a quick story, but
Yeah.
I've been in the eyewear industry for over 15 years now, and Smith was definitely it was a natural progression of my career, and so happy to be here for 4 years now. And I've worked for other various eyewear brands over the last 15 years, and yeah, and that's how I came to be at Smith. I've been at several other brands that I'm sure most of you would know of. Don't know if you want me to go into those now.
Yeah. Give it a shot. We
Okay,
love the great thing about this podcast is with like hundreds of episodes I've interviewed, pretty much, you know, you probably name them. But yeah, so who are some of those other brands?
Yeah, so I started in a high fashion brand called Oliver Peoples, and then made my way into action sports, which is, I'm actually originally from Southern California, so that was definitely a goal of mine to kind of get into that because that was such a lifestyle of mine growing up in Southern California, where action sports were such a huge part of my life. And then after that, I moved to Texas actually to work for a startup called ROKA, and started the eyewear category there. And then after that, I had the privilege of moving to Florida and working for Costa Del Mar Sunglasses. So that's definitely my biggest connection to the fishing world, and definitely got some major crash courses in every type of fishing under the sun.
Yep.
And it was such an amazing experience and one of my favorite times in my career. But then it led me to Smith, and it's been such a fruitful and fun and exciting time for the last 4 years. So stoked for the 3 years to come.
Perfect. Yeah, we love Costa. We've definitely done some cool stuff with them as well. So great. And we'll dig more into this as we go. But Simbo, so Mike, you go by Simbo, right?
Yeah, Simbo, Mike, pretty much anything. I mean, I'm cool with whatever, but most commonly Simbo. I think most of my friends don't know my real name's Michael. So
That's right. Good. Well, give me the background of you. How did you come to connect with Smith and get this great job?
Yeah, always wanted to be in the outdoor industry. So when I was in college, I had an opportunity to intern for a sales agency based out of Utah. They were the Smith reps, but at the time they had a bunch of brands that they rep for in Colorado as well. Boggs, Chums, Kinko gloves. And so I interned to be the Colorado branch. And so I took on Colorado and New Mexico, graduated, got the job offer. And so had been affiliated with Smith from, an arm's distance for 5 or 6 years. So I got to know the crew really well and helped out with a lot of events, but there were reps in Colorado at the time. And then about 2 years ago, Smith decided to restructure the way they were going to run their sales force. And I threw my name in the hat. And I've been such a huge fan, obviously one kind of diet Smith repping for a while there, but knowing the gear intimately and getting a chance. I'm a big skier. Obviously, have loved fly fishing for a long time. Biking's one of my passions too. And Smith is involved deeply in all 3 of those categories. So it was a dream come true 2 years ago when I got the job offer, got to move out to Aspen, Colorado, and kind of be in the heartbeat of, one of our main territories. So that's, 2 years now, and it's been awesome. So,
wow. And what is your position?
Yeah, I'm one of the sales reps here. So there's 4 of us in Colorado. We kind of split the territory up. So yeah, part of the Front Range and then definitely in the mountains as well.
Perfect. And then Allie, what is your position with Smith?
I'm the eyewear category manager.
Okay.
So heavily involved in product and strategy and making things happen internally.
Yeah, gotcha.
Cooking up all the awesome styles I get to sell.
That's awesome. And that seems like maybe a challenge because there's so many styles that are out there. How do you come up with something new and creative? Is that something that's pretty challenging?
It can be for sure. But I always lean into knowing the consumer base as best as possible and making sure that the reason to be for the piece is watertight. It makes a ton of sense. It's unique. It's going to move the needle for us. It's not going to just be a Me Too product. It takes a lot of upfront research and validation and internal and external information to really convince the team that this is the right project to take on. And we kind of go from there.
Okay, sweet. So I think, I'm interested. We mentioned Costa. I think there's definitely lots of brands. I know another brand we've kind of worked with and talked to is Bajío, who I think started from, maybe they had a connection to Costa, but there's a lot of...
So, yeah.
Right, yeah. So you kind of know that history.
Yeah.
When you think of people coming in, let's maybe start with the fly fishing piece or the fishing. With Smith, what do you have a rough idea what percentage of the Smith glasses are kind of fishing, people are fishermen or anglers that are buying them? Is it a really small percentage?
Like the percentage of, I thought you were going to say percentage of styles. My bad. Percentage of the consumer base.
Yeah, like I'm just kind of curious, and I know it's a rough, but just roughly.
It'd be hard for me to yell out a number.
Yeah,
but I know that it's growing at a rapid pace for sure. I mean, I could venture at least 20 to 30%.
Oh, okay, yeah, so that is huge.
Yeah, it's definitely solid.
It's a real big part of our audience. I feel like when you just go through our catalog, for example, we start off the 3 main categories, I guess. And Allie, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have our performance eyewear, then we have our fishing, and then active and lifestyle. So I guess maybe there's 4, but if you're kind of breaking that into activities, it's like mountain biking, maybe / running, and then we have fishing as a huge category, and then just your active and lifestyle wear. So we have a huge portion of our line dedicated to styles that are going to be beneficial for fishing.
Yes.
And, a lot of people are going to wear lifestyle stuff too, but I think our targeted, maybe a third of our catalog is targeted specifically for angling.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. That was perfect. We call them pillars, actually. And we call water as one of our main pillars. And we recently added snow performance eyewear as a pillar. And then we have our bike, like Mike said, and then we have our active line and our lifestyle. And then we also have an archive section that is for older styles that we bring back to life. And so that's been a super fun segment for us. But water is one of our main pillars and fishing is our big focus for sure.
Okay. No, it's great to hear. And so, and obviously, like I said, we see them all the time in fly shops around the country. So that makes sense. And so give us a little, I want to jump into some of the styles, like maybe some of the glasses and things. So if somebody needs a new pair of glasses to get an idea what you have, lenses and things. But I want to hear a little bit of the history of Smith. I mean, I can't think of too many more other brands out there that are as big kind of in the space, but do you know this history of how kind of it got started? Was there like one person? Was it a founder? Or was this, how'd that work?
Yeah, it was Dr. Bob Smith, actually.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, in 1965. So we're coming up on our 60th year anniversary next year, which we're all very excited about. But yeah, it originated in Sun Valley, Idaho. in the mountains, of course. And the simplest thing, the way to say it is that Dr. Bob Smith he wanted to ski longer. He wanted to be out there longer. And he felt disappointed by the goggles that were on the market at that time because either there would fog or the clarity was not great. And when the conditions would get bad, his friends would head in and he wanted to stay out longer. So he got his orthodontist and dentistry tools together and created a sealed thermal lens with breathable vent foam goggle on his own, and he was able to stay out longer than his friends. So just the passion and the pursuit of good memories and more time out on the mountain was his drive.
Right.
I think legend has it is that, and I don't know if this is true, but it's the story I like to tell when I'm presenting clinics, is he and his buddy were in drinking beers at a cabin one night after a long day of skiing, bummed that they couldn't be skiing longer, and realized that the window panes in the cabin weren't fogging, but their goggles were fogging all day, and realized the window panes were double paned. And so that's when their idea was to create the dual pane goggle to prevent from fogging. So
it's a great story.
Being, I hope that's true. That's what I hold tight.
Hey, you know what? It is true. I think it's true.
There you go.
Love that.
And then I think, the line just expanded from there, started in snow pieces, and then quickly adapted into eyewear as well.
Yes, in the late 70s, eyewear was first introduced and really picked up in the 80s into the 90s when we really changed the game with interchangeable solutions for eyewear with the Sliders collection. And really, that's what Smith's always been about, more bang for your buck, more value proposition, being out there longer from dusk till dawn, or from dawn till dusk. Just being out there longer has always been Smith's pursuit and goal.
Right. No, that's it. That's so cool. And it makes total sense. I love kind of that that line because, just like we were fishing this week and it was hot in Virginia, it was a kind of a warm snap and, and bright, and having the glasses on all day long, right on the water and being able to see fish. The cool thing where we were at, we were fishing at spring creeks. So we were spotting these big fish. And obviously polarized lenses you have to have to see. And you were actually watching the trout, these big, like some of them were up to like 28 inches, were feeding, and that you could tell when they opened their mouth when they were eating a bug. So we were matching that to them taking the fly. It was just really cool. But again, you couldn't do that without polarized glasses, right? So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's a must.
Yeah, it's a must. Good.
For sure.
And so the Sun Valley, again, I think that story is great. Idaho, I don't know if you know the story of Sun Valley, but we had the fly shop there, one of the local fly shops, who told how, basically how that all came to be, right? And it started from this one guy, again, back to one guy that came out there and said, hey, I want to create the most epic ski resort, in the world. Yeah. And that's how Sun Valley was created, right? He picked a spot, and obviously Sun Valley, right? They named it specifically for marketing, even though, it gets lots of snow. But so that's kind of how Sun Valley went on. And then you have this Dr. Bob. So now, that's a long time ago. What does it look like for you with glasses? It seems like there's so many. How do you start to think about what's coming up next year? Are you just refining things, or talk about that a little bit of your line?
Yeah. So this next year, 2025.
Yeah.
It's definitely, there's a lot of variables when it comes into planning future years, future line assortments. And a lot of it has to do with staying close to what's trending, what the market looks like right now, even what the economic environment is right now in the States and globally, actually. Mm-hmm. And are we giving the best value for the right price? Do we have the right solutions? Are we becoming redundant? Where's the white space? What's new, what's progressive, but what's also something we know is going to move? Certainly we have business expectations, but also we have expectations of moving the needle for the brand forward and staying relevant and exciting. So there's a lot of those different thoughts go into planning the line. For next year, though, we have some exciting new ones for our water pillar. So we're super excited about that. We feel pretty stacked in our mid-tier range of solutions for our water and fishing fans. But we wanted to bring in some more price-conscious, low, under 200, more accessible price-pointed pieces for our water pillar next year. So we're excited to bring those out. But they'll still feature our top-of-the-line lenses and lens technologies. And so there'll be different ranges of prices depending on what lens technology you're looking for, but still very much an accessible place, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's quite a process for sure.
Yeah. And I see that now. I'm just looking on Smith. You can just select by different price. I'm looking at the 100 to 199, and there's like the guide choice. I'm just looking like the bifocal. So again, back to we talked about this on the trip, but that's a kind of a handy for some folks that are getting older, and then glasses are helpful, right? Having that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And even so, if you need that little help just to tie your fly, that's really what those are for. And yeah, for the older consumer, for sure, who needs the help, or even for people who still need corrective lenses earlier. Those are definitely something that are very popular, actually. And we love to have that available.
Yeah, definitely. What is do you think, maybe Mike will check with you on the glass styles. What do you wear as far as your fishing, and maybe talk about the different lenses you guys have?
Yeah, so I love a lot of the options we have. The Guide's Choice is definitely our most popular. Personally, I'm a Barra fan myself.
Okay.
Just, with my shape, I like to wear that glass as like a lifestyle piece too. So I don't break it out just when I'm fishing or rowing. Kind of just like to walk around the neighborhood and hit them as well.
Exactly.
So that's been my favorite. A new lens that actually Allie just brought to market that I'm really excited. I just ordered a sample of yesterday was the polycarbonate lens. And Allie can dive more into that, but it's a transition lens that uses our ChromaPop technology. It's also going to be glass. And so that's new this year, which is really, really exciting. It's going to be perfect for all conditions. So yeah, I think that's coming in the new hook set and the Guide's Choice as well. So I'll be rocking one of those once they get to my front door.
Dreaming of battling a giant rainbow trout in Alaska's untouched rivers? Turn that dream into a reality with FishHound Expeditions. Immerse yourself in the heart of Alaska, where epic landscapes and legendary fish await. Visit FishHoundExpeditions.com and mention this podcast to begin your adventure. FishHound Expeditions, your gateway to the ultimate Alaskan fishing experience. Are you ready to elevate your fly fishing adventures but unsure where to start? Look no further than Guidebook, the premier platform for connecting you with the finest fly fishing guides in the country. Make your way to wetflyswing.com/guidebook and start planning your next unforgettable fly fishing journey right now. Let's transform your passion into extraordinary experiences with the guidance of Guidebook. Maybe we can go to that, and I want to give folks an idea just on, there are a lot of options. I think that's always the thing. I think one thing you mentioned, the best thing you do is find a place like going to a local shop. If somebody wanted to find out where Smith are, what would you tell them if they're somewhere in the country? How do they find out where their local shop is or where they can try them on?
So we have a locator, like a dealer locator on our website. So definitely, going to the smithoptics.com is going to be a great central point. If you want to try on a couple pairs to see what fits, every style, when you select it, it'll show what shops near you carry that style, as long as they're registered, which they should be. So really gives people the accessibility to go into shops and try stuff on, take a look, kind of get more familiar with the product. Typically, you're going to see Guide's Choice everywhere. I think that's the most popular style. For a good reason too. A lot of my buddies here in the Valley are guides, and it always, warms my heart when I see them rocking our shades, just because it's, I think it's ingrained into what they think is some of the best technology and what's comfortable for them to wear. They're using it all the time. So, they're the true experts. I'm more casual. I'm psyched if I can catch a couple of fish where they're, always hammering them. So when you see those guys rocking our shades, it always feels pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where I would recommend sending people to.
So go to the store locator, and that's easy to do. What if they were, maybe didn't have a store nearby and wanted to check online? Maybe talk about the lenses styles. Like, I know there's lots of different colors. You mentioned one type of lens. Is there just a ton of tech there? What would somebody know to understand what lenses to get?
Yeah, it depends what they want out of them and what type of fishing they're doing, where they're going to be, their environment, what time of year it is. That goes a lot into play of what lens type you're going to need. Is it going to be overcast? Is it going to be, who knows? Is it going to be a lot of things?
Yeah. What if it was kind of you're going to be like, let's just say, trout fishing, and let's just stay with Virginia. So you're trout fishing in Virginia. It's kind of May. You're definitely going to get some sunny days out there.
Yeah.
What would be the lens? And I know there's probably lots of different types you could do, but what would be a popular lens?
Yeah. Well, certainly going to be recommending glass above all, for sure, for any fishing needs, just because of the clarity is unmatched by far. And the polarization efficiency is almost 100%, over 99%.
Do you make lenses that are plastic? Or are they all glass with Smith?
We do have polycarbonate lenses, yes.
Gotcha. So yeah, so there are some.
Yeah, to appeal to all needs, all price needs, all. Some people don't want to spend the money on glass. Some people don't need glass, don't want glass.
Right. And they're heavy too. Is glass a little bit
yeah.
heavier?
They're a little bit heavier. Not our lenses, glass lenses are quite thin actually, so it's not totally cumbersome. But some people don't prefer. And at the end of the day, eyewear definitely is a very personal preference and subjective need, and that's totally okay. But we're going to provide the best possible thing for you for all environments and all types of fishing. Like Mike said, you're definitely going to want to go in and try them on and check them out and see what you prefer, what you like.
Yeah.
But I would say definitely the new polar, especially in spring, where we know conditions can change so fast. But our new polychromic lenses really can help with that and the light environment that is always changing. And that's really the special part of these lenses. It's combining four technologies into one lens. And what really makes it industry first is the combination of the four with our ChromaPop color lens enhancement technology. And so you're getting your color pop, you're getting your glare reduction with the polarization, and you're getting the photochromic technology for changing light conditions. And then you're getting the clarity and the quality and the scratch resistance of glass. So it's really just the perfect combination for all conditions.
Yeah. So ChromaPop. So that, and I see that there. So yeah, and there's all the different colors, but that's basically, so if it's low light conditions, like what would be one? I always think of the amber, but Mike, do you have one? Do you think amber is for fishing the most common lens all around?
It's definitely a really popular one. What I always tell people when they're asking me what lens should I use is I like to match my environment. So specifically, like using your Virginia reference, there's going to be a lot of browns and there's going to be a lot of greens in that environment. So I think you can't go wrong with the polarized brown lens, or the bronze mirror is another great one if you want a mirror. A lot of the time, the green mirror is going to be another perfect lens for that too. So I think a lot of the conditions in Virginia are similar to here in Colorado, that fresh water, looking through, seeing the rocks beneath the surface, seeing the fish. That brown mirror is going to be ideal. Now, the blue mirror is a little bit more commonly is going to be saltwater fishing with that gray base, especially with a black or a gray lens as well. So especially in my shops, when we're looking through the catalog, I think 99% of the options are going to be brown, bronze, or green here in Colorado. So I think that's a really big key, matching your surrounding. If you have the dollar and you want to spend on specific glasses because you're going on a salt trip, then absolutely find yourself a pair of blue mirror lenses as well. And obviously we have a huge line, but that's an easy way to kind of start dictating what is going to be the best lens to match your environment with.
That's awesome.
That's good advice.
Yeah. And I love the low light. I would always have kind of the yellow lens, right? Because on super, low light conditions, that yellow seems to be the best. But could you get a amber with this ChromaPop tech and say, hey, this amber is going to also be in low light conditions even better than the old amber? Is that kind of how that works?
The polychromic version, you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Is that how,
Yeah, because our static brown green mirror lens, glass lens, is around 14% visual light transmission. And the polychromic actually starts at 20, and then it goes down all the way to 11%. So you get a 9% swing of difference in lens. So it's basically like multiple lenses in one lens. And it's activated by UV and visible light as well. So you get more out of it. So you wouldn't have to switch sunglasses between light conditions. But yeah, certainly that yellow is going to be great for scattered light, low light, and where you need high contrast, where you need things to be brightened up for sure. Overcast days, it's going to be great. But it also can darken to 11%, just like all of our other darker sun lenses.
And push that forward, because Allie's the genius here. The visible light transmission, I realize I have to break that down when I'm talking to people that might not know what that means. And so the lower the percentage is the lower the amount of light that's passing through the lens.
Correct.
So you'd want a lower percentage on a bright day because you don't need all that light coming through the lens, where, for using our polychromic lens, it goes down to a 22% VLT or visible light transmission.
So yellow starts at 23.
23.
The yellow blue mirror starts at 23 and it darkens, activates all the way to 11%.
Yeah. So we're letting, 23% of the visible light through the lens as
Correct.
opposed, and then it will darken. So it's just a really nice way to kind of, like we were saying earlier, matching your environment. Something we use in the ski industry a lot. On a cloudy, powder day, you need a low light lens. And then when it's bluebird, you're wearing your dark lens and, helping your eyes adjust. A lot of that is personal preference. I've got super sensitive eyes, so I'm usually in a darker lens typically, but that's nice for people to know about themselves as well, as when they're deciding what's the best lens for them.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense on the percentage. So that's something that just you're refining it. Sounds like even more than just the other types of lenses. And do you still have, you have the ChromaPop, but you guys still have all your other standard lenses that were out there that aren't
Correct.
ChromaPop? Yeah.
Oh, no. So everything, sorry. I thought you were saying non-photochromic, non-polychromic lenses. Yes. But we are going to be a full ChromaPop offering by next year. So ChromaPop is it's ours. It's our own proprietary technology, and we're pushing it and we're getting behind it. And we want everyone to experience ChromaPop. And we've been shifting for the past few years, getting away from non-ChromaPop lenses in the line and seeing great success in the technology. And it creates that memorable visual experience that wants people to come back. So that's our goal for that move.
Yeah. And so and the ChromaPop is, well, go ahead, Mike. Did you have something there?
Oh yeah. I was just going to set a distinction because a lot of times people think polarization and ChromaPop are synonymous, and ChromaPop is a light technology that we use on our lenses. Then we also offer our lenses ChromaPop and polarized as well. So
okay.
I think, ChromaPop, other brands have their own names for their own technology, and all of them are going to be a little bit different. We're the only ones that have this proprietary technology. To break it down, just try to make it really simple, is we use a specific filter to filter out the reds, greens, and blues in our light or in our lenses. And it's going to highlight your environment more clearly, provide better depth perception, and create truer color. So when you wear a pair of ChromaPop lenses, you're going to see the colors are going to be much more vibrant, and it's going to really make whatever activity, but obviously fishing, it's going to really enhance that experience. Then you add the polarization on top of that, and that's when you're cutting the glare. So we're really using a lot of different tools in our lenses to really, become a tool for whatever activity you're partaking in. And I think that's one thing that has set Smith apart. A lot of brands do great things with their lens technology, but ChromaPop is something it's really great when people have an opportunity to experience what it actually does and how it's enhancing, their fishing and how they're going to see the world and see the
awesome.
The environment that they're in.
Yeah, that was perfect, Simbo. It's really heightens the experience because that's what Smith's all about. It's all about the experience is what Smith stands for. So, and to add to what he was saying about the light filtration is it makes your visual experience so much more crisp, and it reduces haze. And there's a lot of technology that goes into the light management spectrum, the visible light spectrum. We could get really nerdy here, but we do it in a way that it's still a natural experience. It doesn't feel psychedelic or unnatural color. It still very much goes along with your own natural visual experience. It makes them pop a little bit more than our own eyes can do themselves.
Well, and I can imagine, I'm just guessing, again, let's just take it back to say I was, amber lenses on that Virginia spring creek, just a little, maybe 5% better visibility could be the difference of, like I was saying, seeing the fish eating your fly versus not. Right. And so that's just from a technical piece, but also the impacts of the sun, right? I mean, you're dealing with that too. Do you guys feel like the sun, this may be some climate change question, but is that something you're talking about in behind the scenes? Like the fact that the sun's rays are getting hotter, you need more protection. Is that a thing at all that you're even thinking about?
That's certainly something that's being talked about in the industry at large, for sure. And we're starting to see a lot of pushing of infrared reduction technology in lenses. There's definitely some talk about it and how much it reduces the heat behind your lenses against your eyes. So it's still it's getting going. I wouldn't say that you're going to start seeing it everywhere, but people are taking interest in that for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Scary thought.
Yeah, I know. We always like to don't want to go down too deep of that rabbit hole, but I think it is, we are seeing, obviously it's no question, warmer climates. We're seeing we've talked to lots of guests around the country, impacts of different species, from whether it's steelhead to brook trout, right? So something's going on. But so I'm interested in the ChromaPop, just more high level stuff. So tell us about the name, because how do you come up with I'm sure these names aren't easy, but ChromaPop. Allie, was that you, or is there some team behind the name?
I wish I could take credit for that, but no, this was before my time. They came up with ChromaPop. ChromaPop was introduced in 2015,
oh, okay. It's been out there a while.
2014. Yeah, it's been out for 10 years now. And yeah, I've heard various stories of how they came up with the name, but chroma is definitely a well-known buzzword, or a word of color, yes, and just light in general and sunlight. So and of course, pop is making those chromas pop.
Gotcha.
So, but no, yeah, it was the team before us that came up with that brilliant name.
Yeah. So it's been, this is not a brand new, you're 10 years of technology, so it's been a while to now you're going to be rolling this out in the next few years, it sounds like, with all your lenses.
Yeah, we're really putting our stake in the sand, really, really pushing ChromaPop hard now these days, for sure. It was definitely more heavy in our sport performance line, but now we've really made the shift to get it into all of our pieces, because it's not just made for sport, it's for everyday lifestyle needs and experiences. It's not, we didn't want to just pigeonhole it into our sport performance line. So yeah, and get it out there, get more knowledge and fans of ChromaPop out there is the goal.
Nice. And so I'm always curious, because another pair of glasses I loved, I had them years now, they're kind of old, but the SunClouds, right? Is that a brand? Smith, right?
Yeah.
Owns SunCloud. Is that the case?
We do, yes. And that's another line that I have the privilege of working on as well.
Yeah. So SunClouds, I'm not sure what made them so good. Maybe it's because they were really lightweight, but are those all plastic lenses, or are those glass?
All plastic, correct. All injected.
Yeah, they're plastic. So that was one
polarized lens. Yeah.
Exactly. So that was one of the things I noticed on those glasses. I think that was maybe the biggest thing. They were so light.
Yeah.
And again, I haven't used all the Smith lenses, so I don't know on the glass. It sounds like you have some really thin technology, but I think that was a cool thing. But I guess the one thing with plastic that you don't get versus glass is you don't get as good of the clarity. Is that, maybe talk about that? What are the biggest things that you wouldn't get with a plastic lens?
So of course, clarity. So we have a scale to measure clarity points for lenses, and glass is by far the best clarity points for sure. It's called the Abbey value, if we want to get really, you're really nerdy here. But plastic and and there's also certain different types of injection lenses of all different types of materials. Some are injected, some are casted, and the SunCloud line is all injection polycarbonate polarized lenses. And so you do get the lightweight. That's definitely a huge benefit. The clarity point's not as good. Scratch resistance not as good, but also the price point is attractive for sure with injection lenses. But that's your main benefits.
That's it.
Yeah.
Were you there when the SunCloud, when that acquisition came in, or is that something that would happen in the past?
No, that's been around. We've had SunCloud under our umbrella for over 20, 30 years.
Oh, wow. Long time.
Yeah.
Amazing.
From what I've been told, it was actually, so originally it was a French brand in the 80s, and our parent company, Saflo, actually acquired SunCloud in the 90s and then passed it on to us in the 90s. And we've been running that ever since.
Yeah. It's a fun brand. Obviously Smith is premium glassware. So it's for people that, have the money or are really serious and whatnot. And I think that's awesome. But SunCloud's a lot more approachable at around $55 typically. Wow. And everything in the line is polarized. That's
we like to keep it simple. Yeah.
Yeah, keep it really simple. And so you're not going to get the ChromaPop technology in SunCloud, but you get a great pair of glasses. We have a lot of fun styles, obviously a lot that are fishing centered or just more outdoorsman centered there. But it's kind of fun too to experiment and have different options for people that want to have a funkier style, that don't need to be so sporty when they're going out there ripping lips. They can rock a pair of shields or something like metal, aviators or whatnot too. So it's always good to have both options, especially in stores. It's great so people can kind of go back and forth between the two, but also approaching lesser price point that makes it easy.
Yeah, for sure.
It does,
because you're always going to find those people that are like, I lose my sunglasses all the time. I can't spend a bunch of money. And it's like, well, we got SunCloud. We got a great option for you with SunCloud, low commitment. And then you have people who treat their sunglasses like their children. So, and then that they're perfect
Oh, yeah.
for Smith. And even so, people who lose, like, we got options.
Yeah, there's definitely options. Are there other brands out there that Smith has under the umbrella?
No. So,
like similar to SunCloud?
Yeah, it's just SunCloud and Smith are ours. Yes.
Oh, okay. Good. Just didn't want to make sure I didn't miss anything there.
No, you didn't.
Okay, that makes sense. And that's cool because, I mean, that is a super low price point. I think typically for Smith, you might be paying, like we said, it could be, $200 somewhere in there, and up to, like, what would be a high, kind of like $300? Is that the upper range of
with the polycarbonate introductions, we're at $305.
Yeah.
And then our entry price point is $155 with our core line, which is a sunglass range made out of recycled water bottles. And then you get into our sport entry price points of $165, $175, and then you get into lifestyle and CP Polar at $175, $185, $195, and then it goes up from there. Yes.
Okay.
And the highest is $305. Yes.
$305. And you said the recycled water bottles. That's interesting. What is that? Is that a program that's been going on for a while?
Yeah, it's called our core line. Yeah, we've had it in the line for quite some time now. Yeah, actually. And takes about 3 or 4 water bottles to make a sunglass. And we love telling that story. Mm-hmm. And the lenses are also made out of a bio-resin nylon. So that's also, so we try to make it as sustainable and closed loop as possible. But it's a really nice addition to the line for sure.
That's cool. And what would that be called? Kind of recycled, if you wanted to search on the website, what would be the name of that? Those glasses?
On our website?
Yeah.
It's the core, CORE, core.
CORE. Okay.
Yes, and it comes in 3 different models.
Gotcha. East Bank, shout out, and is that the
and
models?
Low down too.
Low down
too. Yeah.
Correct.
Gotcha. Cool. So that's it. So those are all recycled. And so how does that work? You just go get recycled plastic bottles and then just create it from there? Is that how that pretty easy?
We work with our supplier to acquire post-consumer waste of our PET is actually the material. And they actually repelletize the material to be used in an injection mold to make sunglasses again. So trash is now treasure again.
Wow. And does that work now? Is that just this line? So could you make all Smith out of trash? You know what I mean? Like, because you hear these stories about there's plenty of trash floating around in the ocean, right? But is that not something
gyres? You know about the gyres? Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the like floating flotillas they call them the 3 gyres or something.
Oh yeah,
it's like they're like land masses full of trash floating in the ocean.
I know.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Our plastic doesn't come from the gyres, just to be clear.
Yeah.
But there's certainly other opportunities to acquire post-consumer plastic and post-consumer waste. But technically, yes, you could make the entire line out of it. There are limitations with our PET. There's clarity limitations. You don't get those beautiful colors and beautiful paint colors that we try to keep them as natural as possible. So we don't want to introduce paint to these pieces. So we keep them very clean.
Gotcha.
And the lenses are different. But the rest of our line, our entire Smith line, basically the entire line is made out of a bio-resin nylon made out of castor bean oil, a sustainable production process that we love. But we love that material because it's eco-friendly and bio-based, but we can still get the beautiful clarity of those transparent plastics, and also has great flexibility, lightweight, really strong material. So that works best for our sport pieces and stuff that really needs to hold up to those harsh conditions. Our PET is not that. It's just a little bit more temperamental.
Yeah.
So it's applied in very intended areas of the line.
That makes sense. Okay, that's cool. So yeah, you couldn't use all the recycled just because there's different colors and things you wouldn't be able to get. But it sounds like you guys
could. I mean, there's definitely brands out there that are committed to their entire line being recycled post-consumer waste. Mm-hmm. But that's not us. But we definitely want to contribute to the cause and not be part of the problem.
It's time to talk about something that elevates your fishing experience. Stonefly nets. Nestled in the heart of the Ozarks, Ethan, a master craftsman, dedicates his skill to creating the finest wood landing nets. They aren't just tools, they are works of art blending tradition and craftsmanship. You know, every time I set my Stonefly net in the water, it's not just the fish that catches my eye, it's the beauty of the net itself. These nets are tailored to your fishing style with options to customize the size, handle, and even the intricate wood burls. They are a perfect mix of functionality and aesthetic appeal. And let's talk about the memories. Just like Ethan, many of us cherish fly fishing as a way to connect with our past and creating lasting memories. Stonefly nets are more than just nets. They are part of our story, each cast and every cast. Are you ready to make fishing trips unforgettable? Visit stoneflynets.com right now and discover the difference a handcrafted net can make. We're going to get out here in a little bit, but anything else we want to touch on the glass? I guess, again, I go back to that person that's going to be heading out on the water, fly fishing. We have a good chunk of the folks, are going to be fishing around the U.S., probably not internationally, but there are a lot of saltwater opportunities as well. What would you say, again, any tips on choosing the right glasses? Mike, do you have anything from a fishing perspective where, you'd say, hey, here's a few things to be thinking about before you buy your next pair of glasses?
Well, size is definitely something, and I know that sounds silly, but fortunately we have different size options, especially in that guide's choice. So we have a small version, and then we call an XL.
Nice.
Yeah. So not just for women, but there's a lot of guys with smaller faces too. Yep. So it's nice to go in and find that right mix. So I think when you're considering, especially when you're spending this kind of money on a nice pair of sunglasses, try a couple on, see what you like, see what looks good. If you look good, you fish good, obviously. Yep. So that's really important. And then, there's a couple other cool features that come with our fishing lines. We have an integrated leash that come with all of our glasses. Oh, nice. So I definitely recommend people use those. It's essentially like a chum's glasses retainer that is integrated in with the, sometimes actually we have like an area that clips into the glasses. So wear those if you're out on the river, people. Glasses like to jump off of your face. So it's nice that you're using a leash of sorts.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
So definitely size is something I'd recommend. And then, matching your environment is going to be super key. I think that really kind of covers, what you're going to find. Obviously, the bifocal is going to be really important too, especially tying those tiny little knots. Yeah. I have a lot of frostbite on my fingers. So I have trouble regardless. So I need all the help I can get when I'm going in to tie those little things. But I think those are kind of the keys. The nice thing is we do carry glass throughout our entire line. So like I mentioned earlier, sometimes those guide's choice options or fishing options are a little bit more sporty, and people want to be able to use this pair for, driving, for going on a run. Sure. So you can find glass if you really are looking for the best optical, the most clarity in your lenses and scratch resistance. You can find those glass lenses throughout our line, which is pretty sweet too, especially in the Lowdown 2 and Lowdown 2 XL. I think those are some of our most popular styles that aren't dedicated into that water pillar, more of a lifestyle. Something I wear every day. I've got a pair on right now.
Which ones are those? Which ones do you have on?
The Lowdown 2 XL.
Okay.
That's my go-to as well.
Yeah, that's a great one. Looks
Everyday
good all
driver,
the time.
We call it. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And have fun with some styles. There's a lot of tortoise and black, which are always going to look good, but I'm looking at a matte black marble, so it's cool to experiment.
Yeah, if you want to express yourself on the water, we got options.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, that's cool. There are a ton of options. I think, the best advice is, you go into a place, try them on, because I'd imagine, once you know what you like, then you can buy them from the Smith, lineup. But how do you get that? So it sounds like glasses definitely is something you got to try on. How do you guys, when you're thinking of more of your marketing, selling, how do you do that when you got new people coming in? Do you get a lot of people to just buy a pair of glasses? And is there like a good return policy if they don't fit their head?
Yeah, definitely. We have a great return policy. Free returns, all of it. We have a limited lifetime warranty. So that's what I always try to encourage people to do. If they're on the fence, they're thinking about Smith, it's like, you're not just buying another pair of sunglasses, you're buying into the brand. You're buying into the family. We'll help you and service you for life. Yeah. No matter what, we'll figure out a way to help you get back out on the water, get back out there. If you have an issue or want something new, or you just didn't really like them, or lenses weren't for you, we'll be there for you for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to our customer service team, because they're amazing. Before I worked for Smith and I was more of just a fan, I had to utilize the warranty often because I was always, I wore my glasses for everything, and they would get back to me within 24 hours. They were really easy to work with. And so I think it's a great tool just for people to be able to go in and trust that they're going to get taken care of, because I sure did. So I want to highlight those guys and girls for sure, because they're awesome and easy to work with. So I definitely like to think of it as an investment when you're getting a pair of glasses, just because you do have that lifetime warranty. I love when I'm in a shop and, customers are always coming in, getting a chance to chop it up with people. And sometimes they'll be like, I've had this pair for 25 years. It's like, that's cool. It's fun to see people
we got the hardcore,
it.
Smithers.
Yes.
That's a cool thing about that. I think when I hear these stories about that, the 25-year glasses, and maybe that guy only bought one pair, over 25 years, maybe he bought more. But, even if it was only one, the cool thing about that is that the stories that guy telling about how he's had these things, think how many sales he's made you guys, right? Just because he's that guy.
Oh, totally. It definitely helps. And that's where it really becomes fun is we've discussed a lot of technical features about VLT and ChromaPop and everything. But really, when it's just, the glasses are just an aid to really, what are you doing? What are you having fun with? And then when it comes from like more of a conversation about, I was out in the Bahamas and we were like hammering these bonefish, and that's when it's really fun to share stories about how maybe Smith might've been a part of it, but it's, what are you doing out there? Why are you getting this type of stuff? Because that's what's fun to talk about, the important part, I
agree. And now you said this before, Allie, I think the fact that, just the tech having them on, but go ahead. Do you have any more feedback on that?
I was just going to add to the stories that people that have definitely choked me up and make me realize why I get out of bed and go to work every day, and just motivate me more to continue to better the line and better the solutions so people can have fun and have life-changing experiences. Like this one story I heard, a couple guys were down in the Keys, hunting for tarpon as always, and one of them happened to be colorblind and they weren't wearing Smith ChromaPop at the time. And the guide was like, dude, there's a rainbow over there. Look at that. That's so gorgeous. And he couldn't see it. And they switched sunglasses and he put on ChromaPop and he could see it. And it was just like,
oh, wow,
the most profound moment of clarity and color for this guy who doesn't usually get to see rainbow. Such beautiful color in the world, that ChromaPop helped him see it. So that was like, so I'm even like getting teary eyed right now. Like just stuff like that is just like really so cool. Incredible to hear. So
wow,
it's why we're here. It's why we're doing our thing.
Exactly. That's an amazing story. Cool. Well, I think what we'll do is kind of, we're going to take it out here real quick in our winter shout out segment here, but I wanted to run through a few different color lenses that we didn't talk about. But before we get there, let me just give a shout out to, we've been doing these events, these giveaway events on the podcast the last few years, and they've been really awesome because basically we're giving away a trip, giving away a bunch of gear, and you were all involved in our driftless school. So we gave away some glasses to some winners out there on part of that event, which was great. And we also, like I said, we just finished our trout school out in Virginia. Shout out to Gage because he won that trip and he won some bunch of gear. And so I wanted to do this and then present, and talk about that trip a little more because it was really cool. And again, the glasses are key, not only for sun protection, but you're casting a fly. You have to wear glasses, right? Because
that's true.
That's one thing you definitely don't want to get a hook in your eye, which definitely, could happen. But let me give a quick shout out to Drifthook because the story I have, and Mike, you'll probably appreciate this. This is such a cool story. And again, Mossy Creek. So we're out there fishing this spring brook. I can't get a single fish to look at my stuff. And you could see these fish. They're sitting down in these, you could literally see them eating, like I said, the mouth opening. And I just didn't have it. And so I took my box out, my Drifthook. So Drifthook, they gave us a box of dry flies. So I said, what is the most fly I haven't used in a long time? So I pulled out a Royal Coachman it was a Royal Wolf, right? Royal Wolf. So the big white wings, just old school. And I said, you know what? I never use this. And I put it on and I drifted it through the cast in, drifted it down for about 20 feet as it got right into above the biggest fish that I saw out here, the one that wouldn't take. He came up and looked at it and he ate it. Fish on. You know what I mean? And it was one of those things where as we were sitting there, I was just kind of blown away. And I landed, it was about 24 inches, caught it.
Holy
I watched
cow.
him do everything. But that was one of those things where, again, we're talking about glasses. So it was important to have glasses on, but just the experience and the connection to having the right gear, the right fly. So there's my shout out for the day. That's our winter shout out. That's awesome. So you tell me what is, maybe Mike, let's go to you first. Do you, when you think you're fly fishing, it sounds like you're really getting into it with your boats and things like that. Have you had a few experiences out there? Any stories you want to share on the fly fishing end that have kind of been memorable for you?
Yeah, a couple recently. So obviously we have the Roaring Fork up here. We have a lot of great rivers. Right. The Frying Pan, the Crystal goes into the Colorado. So there's a lot of great water. Like you said, I recently bought a raft and most people know you buy a raft because you think you're going to fish a lot and you end up just rowing a lot.
That's right.
But I've met a lot of great people up here involved in the industry, namely the fly lords. I'm assuming you guys have some connection.
Sure.
They live up here. So I've been benefited to go fishing with them a lot and learn from their expertise. And we will often bring a couple boats down the river, and it always gets so competitive between what boat is able to best the other boat. And so there's a lot of smack talk going back and forth. And then usually at the end of the night, we're cracking beers together. So I think that's been super memorable. But for more recently, and then I can think back to my dad got me into fly fishing back in, when I was super young, maybe 5 or 6. And there's pictures of us taking some boats down to, I think it's the Hoover Dam, way down there, and catching some of our first first fish. But it was probably like an 8-inch fish, but I'm so small, it looks like a hog. So it's been something I've been able to share with my dad my whole life. So I've gotten him out on the boat recently. And, I think that's the coolest part. I wish I could say, this one time I got this 28-inch rainbow.
Right.
Those guys,
and we'd believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I guess. Yeah. I'm a really good fly fisherman, actually. So I think that's what's the coolest part about this sport for me, though, is being able to do it with some of my buddies where it gets competitive and going out with my dad and, just kind of share some pastime from.
I agree.
He taught me how to do it. Now I'm rowing him down the river. So it's kind of come full circle, which is sweet.
That's so cool. And I think it's always, we talk about this a lot, it's definitely not about the fish or the fishing. Really, it's about the experiences getting outdoors,
Absolutely.
Having that connection with your dad. And I have the similar thing with my dad and rowing him down the river. So
it's awesome.
That's awesome. And so, Allie, how about you? You've got some experience with fishing and maybe not quite as much, over in the fly, but do you have a memorable, as you look back at your, have you been doing this a while? Like just kind of, it seems like you've been dabbling a little bit in fishing.
Yeah, totally. Same origination of the story. My dad got me doing it whenever we would go up to Idaho. My grandparents had a ranch up in Salmon, Idaho, actually. So we had a little pond. We called it Sunshine Pond that we would be plucking little fishies out of just for fun, and then go down to the Salmon River. And it's so funny because I'm sure everyone has the same experience where you're cold, you're over it, you just want to go play with your cousins, and your dad's making you catch one more fish. But since then, loved my time in Florida and getting out on the water there and learning more about other types of fishing. And I love the mountains, love the creeks, definitely have some fond memories here. And now that I live in Oregon, my dad has been coming up a lot, and he's like, I'm addicted to steelhead now. We got to go.
Yeah.
We got to go. He's gone a couple times,
right.
And he has the itch. So he's looking for his next time he can get up here, get out there again. So he's got my husband in it. My husband's out there with him, and they're bringing home some good stuff. So
cool.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, steelhead. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like you said, even the bluegill and crappie, that's a great start for people that are, new to it. Go out and find a pond. There's ponds all around the country, and you go find some bluegill. It's a lot of fun. Good. Okay, well, let's take it out of here. I'm gonna look through some of these lenses. I'm looking at the guide choice. This is the ChromaPop glass, and I'm looking at, there's a bunch. Like there's probably 20 different lens styles. So what I want to do here really quick is go through the lens styles, and as we go, Mike or Allie, you tell me what these would be good conditions for. So, and this is kind of, we didn't plan this, but just on the spot here. So we might not have answers for all these, but like the first one I'm looking at is the yellow blue mirror, and it looks like it has 2 colors, yellow blue.
Yeah, that's one of our polar chromics, our new polar chromics. Yeah.
Okay. And so why the yellow? Now, where would that be good? What fishing opportunity would those be good for?
That'd be great for low light overcasts, but also bright conditions if you're really looking for that high contrast type of fishing where you're really spotting, you're really looking for that fish. And in the shallows, that's where I would recommend that lens. I would say it's not going to be for everybody, for sure. It's definitely a bright lens, but certain people just really enjoy that type of visual experience and need that high contrast.
Yeah. And how would you learn on all of these? So as we go through these, where they're good and where maybe they're not good. I mean, you mentioned it, Mike, before earlier, the difference between like green. I love that tip you had on matching your environment. So if you're in the ocean, the open ocean, then blue is a great, obviously, right? Or like you said, in the freshwater, greens and others. But let's take it to the black lens. Like this is definitely like, when would you use a black lens?
Super high bright light. That's one of our darkest lenses that we have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very sunny day.
Gotcha.
Especially with sensitive eyes too.
Yeah.
Oh, sensitive. Yeah.
And Allie, are they all gray base, or which ones have a different base?
The black, are you talking about CP black? ChromaPop?
Yeah.
This ChromaPop black is a gray base. Yeah, ChromaPop Polar Black is a gray base lens. Super dark.
Yeah. And so I think that's a great one, especially for like open water. big
Okay.
open water. So like when you're fishing out off the coast, I think that's
where you
definitely
don't see land. Yeah, the whole world is blue, so it's better to, for especially for sensitive eyes, to wear something that's a more natural experience where you don't need the higher contrast. You don't need you're not really sight fishing.
Okay. So that's good. Okay. So the black lens. Then I'm looking at some more of these. We got the, the green mirror. So maybe I'll start to guess. So the green mirror, this looks to me like it's green. So this would probably be good fishing in, like we said, kind of in Virginia, kind of lots of trees, green. And is that the case for those?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a perfect lens, especially with a lot of foliage around. I think that's a really perfect option.
Yeah, it's a brown base lens. Yeah.
And the cool thing about the green, like I think if I were to create like a spectrum, I'd say, the browns and bronze are probably more in the freshwater side of the spectrum. And then you have the blues and the blacks are going to be a little bit more on the saltwater side of the spectrum. That green kind of can tiptoe on either side of the line if that's a preference of yours.
Yeah, both. Gotcha.
Yeah, the mirror is definitely an aesthetic preference as well.
Yeah, what is the mirror? So the mirror is like, describe that a little bit. How is the mirror different? Do you have a mirror version and then a non-mirror in each of these lenses?
We do. Yes, we do have just a base lens without the mirror, and then we also offer that base lens as well with that mirror color. We tend to pair the tones of the mirror and the base tint together to provide like a harmonious visual experience. So like a warmer mirror tint will go with a warmer base tint of the lens. And that just helps with color filtration and contrast and really helps the ChromaPop do its thing. And it really, to me, a lot of the times mirror is for looks, for aesthetics. It does decrease the visual light transmission by a few points, few percentages, but it's not going to be a wildly different experience from a non-mirrored version of that lens. So a lot of people want to look the part. It's fashion on the water. I use the F word.
Yeah.
Yeah. People like to look a certain way and people love mirrors. Some people don't like mirrors. So it's up to you, really.
Yeah. So there's really not that much difference.
No.
So the mirror might be even more style. 'Cause to me, I guess I don't feel like, I feel like the, not having the mirror would be fine because it's, I don't need the mirror at all. But yeah, some people might be interested in that. Okay. So we're going down. So we got blue mirror lens, and then I'm looking at another one here. Yeah, the bronze. So now we're into the bronze, which is kind of more of a lighter, right? Is the amber a little darker than the bronze? Is that the case?
I'm confused at what you're looking at, actually.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm
our brown. We have brown lenses, and then we have our polycarbonate bronze. If you're looking at that one,
I just went right to. If somebody wanted to take a look where we're at, I just went right to Sunglasses, and then just the ChromaPop for the guides.
Guide's choice. So our browns are pretty consistent. Yeah.
Yeah. If somebody wants to follow along, they can just go to the sport, click on fishing. That opens up all the fishing glasses. Then you click on the ChromaPop, which is right at the top.
Yep.
And then it's got like 4, 8, 12, 16, like 18 different lenses there.
So it's actually it's 18 different SKUs, different colorways. The lens technology is actually just spread across those different swatches that you're seeing. So like the Guide's Choice, for instance, is offered in now 4 different lens technologies. So you have your...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have your ChromaPop Polar, and then you have your ChromaPop Glass Polar, and then you got your Polar Chromics. So really, actually, now I'm thinking about it, it's 3 technologies that we offer there. And then from there, it's your different tints, it's your different mirror colors, it's your different frame colors based on what outfit you're wearing.
Yeah.
So whatever you...
Gotcha.
Of course, matte black and our matte torts are highly popular ones because they go with everything, of course.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Yeah, and I'm looking at one I just clicked on. It says black matte ChromaPop with the bronze mirror lens, right?
Yep.
So the bronze mirror lens. So the bronze...
actually a brown base lens, yes.
Yeah, so the bronze versus the... let's say the polarized. Yeah, so there's blonde. And then is there an amber? I guess, there isn't really. Is there an amber? Is it amber or is it just browns? What would be that lens?
Yeah, let me
amber.
I'm looking at what you're looking at.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're all brown. It's the same typical brown base. Yeah, glass or polycarbonate lens. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. They're not called amber. They're just called brown. One's a little darker than the other.
Yes. Yeah. We definitely clean it up to be a little more consistent and digestible.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I see. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, yeah. I was just say, since we're kind of talking about the website too, and we brought up the visible light transmission, for people that are following along, if you look below the color options, you'll see a little scale from clouds, partly cloudy and then sunny. And so that kind of gives you a good representation.
It's a huge help. Yeah.
Yeah. What conditions you might expect that lens to be optimal for. So nice little keys there. And then you can also find that information if you scroll down in the product details. For the people that are really interested, going into all the nitty-gritty details, you'll find the specific technologies we have on our lenses, the fit integration, even the base curve. So you can get pretty nerdy on this stuff if the information's there if you're looking.
I see it. Yeah, I see it all. Yeah, it's all covered here. Okay, perfect. So that's great. So people can go check in there, and like we said, I think that there's lots of options here, but they can maybe going into a store was the best starting point.
Totally.
Yeah.
Use that dealer locator.
Yeah, dealer locator. Okay. All right, good. Well, I think we'll leave it there. We have just a couple of random ones for each of you as we get out here. I always love to think of the music and podcast questions. So either of you, I guess maybe Mike, we'll start with you. When you're on a road trip, do you listen to more music or podcasts when you're heading to that next adventure?
I would say 50-50, but I throw stand-up comedy in there too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So sometimes you look like kind of silly laughing to yourself in your car.
What are you going with that? What's your stand-up? What are you finding that?
Well, I think Pandora's a great because they kind of shuffle similar artists. So
okay.
I think it's fun to experiment with all kinds of comedy, going from people that are a little bit maybe more raunchier on the Bill Burr down to like the more, easy to listen to type of comics. But so that's super fun. But I think podcasts are essential. I love music. I like to sing and dance in my car as much as anybody, but you can only listen to the same 50 Cent song so many times. So
right. Yeah, that's right.
50 Cent Coulter Wall really built my playlist.
Oh, nice.
But,
nice. Yeah, I'll have to look that one up. I'll have to check into that one. Okay. So podcasts and not only music, but the podcast with the comedy. I love that because I listen to those as well. I just listened to Bill Maher, who has, obviously, but he had Jerry Seinfeld on. And it was a great podcast because it's just, Jerry is actually, of course, Seinfeld, it's one of the great shows of all time.
Of course.
But he was just really clear. He was like up front. They're kind of battling a little bit. It was really awesome. So I love the comedy in that. So we'll put some links out to that stuff. So Allie, let's hear yours. So are you more on music or podcast when you're doing a road trip?
It jams. Definitely music for sure for me. It depends who I'm with and where I'm going, but love my my playlist, my songs. But I do.
Okay.
If I'm just doing like a really boring drive, so like down the 5 to California from Oregon.
Yeah.
I love a good true crime podcast. Really can get into those. I love a good those are really entertaining to me. But if I'm with my son or my husband, we do music, but and my husband's super into podcasts, so he's always listening to podcasts.
Okay. What would be the music if you have a genre, a group, or a song or anything you could give us to throw in the show notes? Oh,
wow. Yeah. I'm definitely a pop girl. Love my top 100s. Love Queen. Love like kind of your stadium rock.
Right. Who's in the top 100? Are you thinking, because, my kids, when I think of who's the female artist who's the biggest out there right now, I'm trying to,
right now,
is that, or give us
it's Taylor Swift.
Okay, I was going to say, so you listen to a little Taylor Swift?
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't call myself a Swiftie, but I love some of her songs for sure. But it's not all I listen to.
Love it.
Yeah.
See, this is the opportunity that I've been waiting for, because Taylor Swift, I would never probably listen to Taylor Swift. It wasn't for my daughters.
Totally.
Like 9 and they love her so much. But because of that, I've been listening to a lot of Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And I will say it straight up, right? I mean, she definitely is a talented artist, right? It's one of those things.
She knows what she's doing. Yes.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing. So anyways, I definitely, I'll probably get some laughs or some hate mail or something from that. But I do agree. I think Taylor Swift's good. And you know what? This is going to be the opportunity. We're going to throw it in the show notes, and I won't feel bad about it. So we'll throw some Taylor Swift so people can check that out. But awesome. Well, this has been great. I feel like there's never enough time to go into all this, because I know the technology, especially Allie, for you, you've got all this, this mind around it. So I think what we'll do is just leave maybe a link out so people can check in with you guys. If they have questions, they can touch base with us, and we can send them out to smithoptics.com.
Yep.
And appreciate all your time today, and thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
It was a blast.
It's a lot of fun.
Heck yeah. We did it. Smith Optics. We all know them. We all love them. They've got good stuff. I loved hearing that conversation today, how we got into some of the recycled materials and some of the cool stuff they're doing. It's obvious that Allie is super intelligent on all this stuff. I think definitely way above my head on what we're talking about here, some of the tech. But if you have any questions, definitely check in with Allie. And if you're out in the Colorado area, Mike would be a good person to touch base with as well. We're going to keep this rolling. Love the gear talk. Always love that. And we're going to have more of Smith down the line, partnering up some good stuff. Get a chance, please follow the show. Real easy. Click that plus button and follow the show so you get updated when that next episode goes live. We are working on the shop right now. I'm not going to go deep on what it is, but just remember the shop. This is part of wetflyswing.com/pro. Wetfly Swing Pro. Right now you can go there and enter your name, and we'll update you when we're ready to kick this off. And you can find out more information there. We're going to be following up with people who are interested, and we're going to be giving away a nice beta group session that's going to kick this off this year. So if you want to hear about the shop, find out what we've got stirring up in the background, you can check that in right now. All right, I'm going to bust out of here because I got a busy day and I got a busy night. Kids are on the water. Our kids are actually on the run tomorrow, so we got multiple events. Going to be following that tomorrow. It's going to be good. We got some warm weather coming, and we're just coming back from our trip to, if you hadn't heard about that, a while back, to our trip on trout. This was the Mossy Creek Fly Shop and Mossy Creek Fly Fishing. Colby, Brian, Nick, Andy, Wayne. We got the whole crew now that we've been there. We fished, which was really an amazing trip. Kind of did everything we said we'd do. We got some brook trout. And really the highlight, I think one of them was Mossy Creek and these amazing spring creeks and being able to sight fish for some of these big fish. I've got a story that I'm going to be continuing to tell, I think, as I go. But yeah, man, shout out to Nick. We definitely fished with Nick quite a bit. We're going to have him on the podcast soon. We're going to tell the whole story about this trip. And we're going to do a good wrap up on that. But if you get a chance, if you're in the Virginia area or if you're out there and you want to see some epic, a chance at just unbelievable action where you can actually see the fish eating, you can watch them, and you can just put it's like, I don't know how you describe it. It's like stealth mode, it's technical. And my story is funny because we got a success story on mine. So I'll leave it there. Stay tuned for that. We got some good stuff coming up where we're going to be talking about that. And I hope right now, if it's late in the night, I hope you have a great evening. If it's early in the morning, I hope you have a great morning or a great afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Look forward to seeing you on that next episode. Talk to you then.